Hey, hi. Can I talk to Swarup?
Yes, speaking.
Yeah, hi Swarup. This is Ansible from Capgemini.
Hey, hi. How are you?
I'm very good. What about you?
I'm doing good.
Okay, I think you're expecting my call for the scheduled interview.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, shall we start?
Yeah, sure, we can start.
Yeah. So, can you quickly brief me about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Swarup and I'm working on Devops along with the cloud. So majorly I was involved in doing the continuous integration on daily basis by using Jenkins, where I installed Jenkins from the scratch. I did master slave configuration. I created various jobs based on the customer requirement, like pipeline jobs as well, where we got a chance to write a Jenkins file in Groovy so that we have different stages so that our build will be automatically deployed on the target servers based on that Jenkins file stages. And we are using GitHub as a version control system. We are using GitHub Enterprise, where our team is the complete ownership of that environment, starting from infrastructure provisioning till maintaining the repos and giving access to the development teams. In addition to that, we used to perform the upgrades which GitHub Enterprise provides us updates, like they used to release new versions for every 2 weeks, minor patches and major releases. We are only responsible. And we do create protected branches and feature branches when at the starting of the sprint. So whenever developers encountered some sort of issues in their local GitHub Git environment, they used to collaborate with us to resolve those issues. And we are using Ansible as a configuration management tool. So initially we were doing things manually, then they come up with this configuration management approach. So I was the one who did the POC on Ansible setup. Right now we are very stable towards the Ansible configuration management tool as well, and we do some sort of continuous deployments as well by using Ansible. So from Jenkins, actually, when that Jenkins file triggers, when the build is completed, last step will be uploading the artifact into Nexus. So from Nexus, we have written some playbooks by using a raw curl command. So what this curl command will do is, like, it will download the artifact from our Nexus repo, and it will place in our target web server, and it will do a restart of our application. So once the restart is done, we can see the application come up with a new version of that particular build. And it will do the small smoke test there, just giving the username and password to log into that web console. If it fails and if it sees some problem while doing the deployment, automatically it will roll back the build to the previous version which was already running. So meanwhile, we'll be notified stating that this build is successfully deployed, or means it's failed while deploying with the below error or something like that. Based on that, we used to resolve and we used to re-trigger that deployment playbook one more time so that we can see it. Before doing it on the prod environment, we have some lower environments like stage and test environments. The builds will be first deployed here, and some sort of testing will also be done here. So once those testing is completed only, we used to promote that build from Nexus to higher versions like dev environment, pre-prod environment, something like that. So it will be easy for us not to disturb the existing environment, so that QA and other team members can able to perform their activities, rather than putting a build which is not up to the mark in their environments and making them to block their BAU activities. And we are using Jira Atlassian product for project iteration and tracking purpose. We do follow Agile with Scrum, where we work in sprints of 17 days. So at the start of sprint, we used to do a kickoff meeting with the prerequisites, what we have gathered as user stories in that particular sprint. Once that sprint is finished, we used to give the demos on the user stories, what we have implemented, those features to the customer. And if customer is okay, then we used to close those user stories and close the sprint. And at the end of the sprint, we have a retrospective, where as a team, like the developers and DevOps teams along with the Scrum, and the project management, like product owner, will chat in and we'll discuss what went fine, what didn't went fine, and what will be the future plans to avoid those issues what we have faced or the blockers what we had in that particular sprint, so that we can able to plan better for the next sprint. That is one thing. And we do have some monitoring stuff as well. So we have two monitoring things, like we are using Splunk Enterprise for a few of the application where the budget of that particular team will be more. They can adapt for the licensing part. And for a few application where there is no that much budget, still they want to do monitoring and those things. We have Elk Stack over there. We are using open source Elk Stack, so that we used to configure that monitoring to that particular teams. And if budget approvals are there, then we used to configure them to Splunk Enterprise. But almost both are having almost all the same similarities. So that is what we observed. But still, organization and client requirements differs. So based on that, we used to do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's an high view overview, and we have a lot of things like incident management. Once we set up the platform for them, application team, if they encountered some sort of issues, they will get back to us by some incident management tickets, those things, and we used to act accordingly based on the priorities and severity of that incident. If it is some test environment or stage, we have some good SLA. If it is some pre-prod and prod, the SLAs will be limited like 2 or 3 years, so that we need to close them as soon as possible.
Yeah. So that's great.
Yeah.
Now, can you tell me which OS platforms you have been worked on?
At organization point of view, we have Red Hat Linux and CentOS for a few of the lower environments. Red Hat Enterprise is all dev, prod and pre-prod environments are hosted on Red Hat Linux, and CentOS is for POC servers and those things we are using.
Okay.
And for my personal R&D and those things, I prefer Ubuntu basically on my personal PC. When I want to implement something and I want to see something, I used to see Ubuntu most of the times, or CentOS if possible.
Okay. Any experience with Windows systems?
Honestly, right now not much. Why? Because we majorly deal with Java application. We have few applications on Windows as well where we are using NAND builds along with the MS builds. So limited exposure means we have some Jenkins slaves on Windows as well for .NET application. So that part of administration I got.
Will you be able to manage Windows environment if given an opportunity?
Exactly, means it will be added advantage to my profile, right? I will not say this thing in my next interview, maybe after 5 years, something like comfortable will be both operating system. But we used to do basic things like maintaining the services. Means this Jenkins stuff is there on Windows, right? So for that, we used to do some troubleshooting and those kind of things. But I can't say that much confident right now. Why? Because the scope is limited there. So it will be fair, means if I tell what I did, rather than means again get some issues after joining those kind of stuff. So I'm just telling that is what I did.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me which scripting languages you are preferring or willing to work with?
So basically, Bash scripting is one we were using, but once we introduce Ansible, everything is written in ML only. They are using yet another markup language over there. So for this infrastructure automation and day-to-day automation stuff, we are using right now complete Ansible. So these are the two things where I'm much confident. But I think when you are saying Windows, I think most probably we need to pick up PowerShell scripting, something like that.
Yeah, that would be an added advantage.
Yeah.
For Windows.
Yeah.
And how about the shell scripting?
Shell scripting I used to do, means I used to do for our day-to-day automation stuff, means whatever, if suppose say one developer will come, their Nexus repositories they are pushing too many builds. Now he want to come up with some automation stating that he don't want to keep builds of older than 6 days or something like that. For that he want to build me a script, or to clean up that particular workspace in Jenkins he want to make me a script. Those kind of scripts I have written. And I don't know what is the exact requirement here. When you tell that, I can tell whether I'm confident in that area.
Okay. How about Python?
Python, no, I never involved in Python. but I tried it on my own to learn. I completed till array and tuple. After that, there is no chance of working on that, so I also stopped it long back. That also means I just kept it working only.
Okay, no issues. Now, can you tell me which DevOps tools you have been primarily working on?
So DevOps tools, I worked on local Git bash, GitHub as a central repository, then Maven as a build tool, then Jenkins as continuous integration tool, then we have Sonotype Nexus for Artifactory, Ansible as configuration management tool, Vagrant from HashiCorp to spin up the local infrastructure, Splunk and Elk at monitoring infrastructure level and application level as well. And I did a POC on Docker with Kubernetes, so I can say that if something is there towards containerization as well, I am good to handle those things as well as of now. I learned Helm charts as well for maintaining Kubernetes on my own. We are not using it, but when I see that open source rapid development, I tried that as well.
Okay.
And means Jira, Atlassian Jira, where I got some admin exposure as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, these tools, I worked comfortably. Most probably, if some 2 to 3 extra tools will add, definitely I think I will be in a position to pick them up without any problem. And HPSM as an incident manager.
Yeah, that is okay. Any exposure towards monitoring tools like Nagios, New Relic, AppDynamics?
AppDynamics, we did a POC, so it means it's in like right now the subsidiary of Cisco. AppDynamics, like we have some cloud environment of AWS for monitoring that particular networking, like VPC and how the routing is happen between the public subnets and private subnet to which the internet connection is going on. That things we did on AppDynamics, but it's not at.
So how will you rate yourself in OS compatibility on the bar of 1 to 10 with combination of Windows plus Linux?
I can tell as Windows is limited, I can tell like 6 to 7 as of now. But once I am comfortable there, I can rate something more. I mean, 6 to 7 will be the right now point of confidence.
Okay. Yeah. How about scripting?
Scripting means like I can rate around 7 out of 10 as Python is also involved where I'm not involved anytime. So Shell and Ansible ML, I can rate myself like around 7.
Okay, no issues. How about Docker and Kubernetes?
So Docker and Kubernetes, I spin up a complete application on my own. Means starting from scratch, like setting up the Docker environment and Kubernetes to handle Docker, and to handle Kubernetes, I write some Helm charts as well. So as it is not used in production or in organization, I can say 5 out of 10. The learning what I did is like on my personal interest. So I don't know how the organization, but I spin up some Elk instances by using complete Docker with Kubernetes, where I have spin up Logstash, Elasticsearch, and Kibana all together in one go, and I wrote some daemon files to fetch logs across the container. That thing I have did.
Okay. How about Ansible?
Ansible we are using from almost 1 year, 8 months, so I can tell 7 as of now. There is a lot of things involved with the Ninja along with Python. That part we are not yet using in my current project. But Adobe commands, playbooks, writing the roles, doing some custom playbooks, those parts we are already in good shape in current project.
Okay. Any exposure towards Chef and Puppet?
No, but I know the underlying architecture and what is the difference between Chef, Puppet and Ansible, why market is preferring Ansible. Those things I just did what is the benefit and those things. While doing the POC, they only suggested me to pick a right tool.
And how about your cloud exposure? You worked on AWS, right?
Yes. So in AWS, I use services like EC2, S3, Amazon Glacier for archiving the data. Then VPC, where I got exposure like Internet Gateway, subnets, public subnet, private subnet, IP route tables, then elastic load balancing, auto scaling groups, then IAM.
Okay. Any exposure towards cloud formation?
Cloud formation, no, but we are using in plans of using Terraform. So I know like how to write the Terraform stacks to spin up the environment or any services in AWS. It is also an HashiCorp tool.
So are you using open source Terraform or it is a licensed enterprise?
No, we are using open source as of now. Once we are comfortable, then actually the organization will make us to move to enterprise. Right now we want to see the password encryption here. So we are in touch with HashiCorp to use that Vault service. There is a software called Vault from HashiCorp. So where we can store our passwords, everything securely. Why? Because this Terraform also needs our user access key ID and security key ID while spinning up the services in AWS. So that is the current part where we are right now. And another services like
so how will you rate yourself about AWS?
AWS 6 out of 10, as there is a wide variety of services right now. The services what I used like will form a complete stack of Devops, but there are a number of services that are rapidly growing day by day.
Yes,
6 out of 10,
Okay. No worries. So can you tell me some basic commands of Linux?
Okay. For file creations like touch, cat, va, move, and for viewing the files, like we used to use the tile, then less more to display the page by page contents, then grep to search some regular expressions, to find a file of our searching in any one of the locations, starting from the root location, then finding a process and killing it, the related process by using the ps command along with awk command to give the filter of the second field where we will be having the process ID. Then you just pipe it with an xargs command to remove it. In one go, you can all remove unwanted process. Suppose I was doing one time one activity. That time, some daemon is spinning up almost 100 process that we need to kill for our upgrade of 5 minutes. For that, we just need to copy paste everything. So I just write a command by using ps awk to filter the second field. I mean to say the column, and then I passed it to an xargs command and I killed it. Then again said streamline editor if you want to replace some text or a word in your particular file. We use said a lot of means tile -f for seeing the dynamically dynamically running logs, and system control commands to start, stop, then DUTF for disk utilization and disk free, then free for seeing the RAM utilization, LS CPUs to see how many CPU cores are available and what is their visibility, and then netstat -a to see the port numbers which are already allocated to come out of port conflicts. Then VM stats to show the virtual memory stat, stop command to display the CPU utilization on that particular server, then SSH commands to log into the particular server, sudo access, root access, changing the sudo ers file to allow the user to log in without password into root directory by changing the users and passwords to allow equals to yes, those kind of things. Yeah, means few more means I can't get it right now, but when I come across that means giving the permissions of file chmod, just changing.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah.
No worries. Now you have a scenario.
Yeah.
You are having a Linux box. Now you need to change a permission of a particular folder. Which one you will use?
chmod -R, then the permissions. 7 will give complete.
I don't want to go recursive. I just want to only apply the permissions to that specific folder. I don't want to go inside that folder and apply it all.
No, you just come out of that folder. You just be available in a folder where you can able to view it. NVCLS -LRT. You just need to give chmod, then space 7 space the directory name.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah.
Now we have another scenario. I just want to apply the 500 chmod 500 permissions to that particular folder.
Okay. 500 permissions. 500 permissions means what exactly it means?
I can give permission like chmod 777
Okay. You mean to say like, okay. 500 you mean to say like read, write, execute where you want for owner 321. 5 means it will be read, write. You don't want to have execute permissions for any one of that. Then you need to give chmod 500 space directory name.
Okay. Now you have another scenario for the same Linux box. It is heavily consumed by network traffic or by its own processes. We are not sure.
Okay.
So how will you start troubleshooting? Which command you will fire first to identify what is happening?
So the first, when you talk about the networking part, the first thing I need to see is like two things. Like we are not 100% sure whether it is networking or some memory. So first I will start from DU, DF to see the disk utilization. Then I will trigger top command to see the CPU utilization. After that, I will use ping command. Ping command will show us what is the data transfer of our pockets. Like if it is transferring complete pockets, like 1 out of 1 transferred successfully, 10 packets out of 10 are transferred. If you have any issues at network level while data transmission, there only it will show like 10 out of 8 out of 10 packets has been transmitted, something like that. There only we can able to find out there is some problem with our network fiber channel or something like that. We need to involve some networking team. And another thing is like we can see some port conflict issues by using netstat-an or VM stats to see the virtual memory statistics of that. Those kind of things we can able to troubleshoot.
Okay. Now, on the same Linux box, you identified some processes are consuming your resources.
Okay.
Not just because of the network traffic. Okay? So now you need to kill it.
Yeah.
Which command you will use?
So kill -9 space PID. Before doing that, I need to see which application that particular process is running. If it is running some production instance or something like that, I just need to create a CM to approve, and I need to get a downtime of 10 minutes or 15 minutes for the same application.
Okay.
And another thing is like those kind of issues will come when there is some heap memory issues, Java thread, idle hunks, those kind of things. Before doing this, we just need to run the garbage collector. Garbage collector, if it is configured properly, then automatically it will clean up those processes which are not useful, and rest we can able to send it out.
Okay. Now, you identified some processes, you got your SCM ticket approved, and you killed the processes.
Yeah.
Still, system is not behaving well. Okay, it is not responding as expected.
Okay.
So, there's one application running on port 80, but you don't know the PID. Which command you will run to identify that PID? How will you grab that?
Okay, so netstat-an grep 80.
Okay, does it show you the PID?
It will show that allocated TCP/IP port number, and I'm not sure about. Or you can directly use that port number 80, right? Just grep ps-ef pipe grep 80. So it will bring down all the processes which will be having 80 matching pattern. So we can filter it out of exact 80.
Okay, cool. Now, on the same Linux box, you killed that port 80 process. The PID is killed. Still, system is not add up to the mark.
Okay.
Now you need to kill all the processes without using pkill command. Okay.
Okay.
In that you will again create SCM ticket that should be approved, and you got an approval. Consider that. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, which command you will use to kill all the processes without using pkill?
There is a ps tree or something there, one command, I'm not getting it, so that it will kill all the dependent or associated child processes along with the parent process ID which we are killing. I honestly didn't remember. It's ps tree is the command name, if I'm not wrong. Please correct me if I'm telling something which is not relevant here. ps tree is something like...
What is the command name?
ps tree space PID, if you give, right, it will show the particular parent ID and its associated child PIDs. Based on that, we can able to kill.
Oh, Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No worries. Now, let's say you have killed all the processes without using PKL. System is working well. Now, there is a backup folder of the project file. Okay. Daily backup is coming at 12 at midnight.
Okay.
Yeah. On one folder. Now, you need to write a shell script so that your backup copy will be moved to central Linux server. It will be your NFS mount point.
Exactly.
Yeah. It will be your NFS server.
Okay.
So, how will you do that?
So we are having a similar scenario. We are using semantic net backup on a target server where we are storing this kind of backup config backups. So here, we just need to start our shell script, and we need to have an block to trigger this at the particular point of time. Maybe we will schedule that shell script with a cron tab to run at the specific point. Then inside the shell script, we just need to write an SCP command along with the net backup username at the IP address : then the complete path, and SCP-P and the file name what we want to copy to the target NFS or net backup server.
Okay.
And we can.
Now you want to run this script daily.
Yeah. So then that is what I'm telling. We can go to that our cron tab -L. We can see how many crons are listed over there. Then cron tab -E. Then we can use that minutes, hours, day. In day we can mention star over there, so that for every day it will run. Like the day will start from Saturday. Saturday will be 0, Sunday 1, till again Friday. Means it will be 7 days will be counted there. We just need to put star over there. It will trigger every day. And if you want at specific time, minutes, in minutes place, you just mention something like the minute and the hour, what you want to.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Now, on the same Linux box, there is one file, an XML file or a text file.
Okay.
You need to print line number 10.
Okay.
Which command you will use?
Print line number 10. Means if I want to be very basic, then I will just use head file name, then pipe tile-1 space tile-1. That's it. It will just print the 10th line of that file. And if you want to display the line number, then I can use cat-n or something. Then the file name, it will show the number in the output, or cat-d or n. One option.
Okay. Okay.
Or arc. In arc command also there is one. We can do that. Arc -f nr equals to 10. Print under print block. We can use nr equals to 10. It will directly print the 10th line itself rather than doing these two commands or one command use.
Okay. So, in last to last scenario, you are using FTP command.
Yeah.
So, I just want to know why not rsync?
Rsync we can do, but rsync will be syncing up for, rsync can also put both the servers at the same, what I can say, update or something like. Whenever there is a change, rsync will move the changes to our backup server. We are having rsync in our GitHub. We have primary server and replica server. We have connected by using rsync, primary and replica. So whenever there are changes on primary server, rsync at the same point of time will keep the changes in our backup server. So whenever this fails, right, primary, then replica will automatically treat it as a primary server. Load balancer will shift the load into that particular replica server. That is with rsync only behind it.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Now, can you tell me what is hypervisor?
Hypervisor, basically it's an heavy entity. On the top of hypervisor, our VMs will be running by loading the complete operating system. But whereas in containerization technology, we are coming out of this hypervisor. There is no hypervisor, and directly Docker engine or something like that, we can host our application, and you will be having the base OS itself. There will be no hypervisor in between base OS and Docker engine and the applications running on the top of Docker engine. But if you see a VM player or virtual, whatever the provider, then you will be having the base large virtual machine. Now I want to spinning up some application. Suppose I want to spin up 3 servers. Then we will be having a layer called hypervisor. On the top of hypervisor, it will load the complete operating system. Again, on the top of that operating system, your apps will run, which will be very heavy entity. To make it easy, they come up with containerization.
Okay. Can you tell me what is KVM?
KVM, I heard it, but I never tried to Google it also. LVM, KVM, logical memory status, KVM, I didn't try that.
Okay.
This volume management, something it will come with, yeah?
Okay. So now can you tell me what is Devops in your opinion?
DevOps, in my opinion, I read so many articles in LinkedIn. Someone will tell something, some article will tell something. But my understanding is like DevOps is just like a practice or a discipline. It don't much bother about the technology what you are using. Their main motto behind DevOps is like the more you deliver, the more the customer satisfaction, the more customer feedback will be there. And they want to remove the gap between different teams like dev team, operation teams, application teams, and networking administration teams. So DevOps philosophy is something like everyone needs to be in a position to at least understand what is happening starting from scratch till the product is deployed. At least we will be in a position to figure out where exactly we are going wrong, and we can pull that particular team and collaborate and fix the issue without waiting 1 or 2 days.
Okay. Then what is the benefit of the DevOps?
So we can show more rapid delivery. Suppose say without DevOps we can be giving 4 or 5 builds on daily basis. If you see the DevOps practice, the continuous CI/CD pipelines, everything will be automated. Then you can give the build at very rapid phase. Suppose Amazon is deploying for every 18 seconds. That is what I was reading in their article. So it says that how rapid they are developing and how smooth they are deploying without zero downtime. So basically they are doing canary deployments and blue-green deployments. So based on that, their apps...
In earlier days, people are using the build and release technology, right? They are doing well.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so there are no
why
smart...
Why do we require DevOps now?
See, at the time, build and release engineer will be there. What he will do? He will trigger or he will configure the Jenkins. He will just will be responsible till that artifact is given to the development team or something like that. So there will be no much collaboration.
The only reason we require DevOps?
There are a lot of underlying principles. It's not a small things like Agile is the backbone. More customer satisfaction we need, more delivery we need to give, and we need to restrict the cost. Basically, they just want to give up all the manual things and to reduce the manual efforts or the size of the resource team. If those earlier days we might be using 20 resources, now they want to use this latest principles of DevOps, and they just want to restrict that manpower to 6 to 8 members team where they will be in a position to do the same 20 people work. Means a lot of things in every area there will be one benefit. If you see cost perspective, if you see delivery perspective, if you see like flexibility and team understanding, and moreover the employee satisfaction towards working on a quality or cutting edge technology.
Okay. So right now, let's say we are working on one project. It's a Java project folded on Git. Okay. So can you tell me some basic commands of Git?
So now you have an Java code in your GitHub repo. I want to clone it to my local system. So git clone space the remote repository URL. Then it will be cloned into my particular local system. Then I need to switch to a specific branch. Suppose I want to switch to a specific branch feature 3. I will use git checkout feature 3. Then I will make some changes on the files which are available on that branch. Then I want to commit them. So first thing is I will use git status. I will see what changes I have made. Then I will use git add, then it will be added into indexing area or staging area. Once it is added, I will commit it by using a commit message, git commit -m space commit message ID. Then once it is committed, then I can able to push into my remote repository, like git push space origin space master. It will be pushed into my remote. This is very simple command I'm telling right now, the basic flow. Now there are a lot of commands like merge, rebase, then we have stash if I want to keep the current status of my working directory and I want to do some XYZ on some other, and I want to come back and I want to pick changes from stash. I can just apply the stash and I will get the previous changes as it is and I can continue working on that. And like, I mean, there is a bare repository, pull is there, fetch is there. Before merging, it's better practice like to run a pull command so that our feature branch will be intact with master so that we will not get any merge conflicts.
Okay. So can you tell me the difference between git pull and git fetch?
Basically, pull, what it will do is like it will bring the latest changes from remote repository or the origin from where we have cloned it, and it will try to merge the code into our local GitHub, Git repo. When if we say about fetch will pull the changes, but it will not merge that into our local code. Basically, pull is an operation of two things like fetch plus merge, but whereas fetch is like it will just pull down the latest changes and it will not add those changes into our repository. We can manually again do these things like, I mean, git status, git add and git commit so that it will be available in our local repo.
So is it, or it is just a vice versa case?
No, this is means pull is a combination like fetch plus merge. Fetch is like it will just pull down the latest changes. That's it. Because I clearly have followed one video and I read 2-3 articles on the same concept, so I'm confident it's not vice versa, 100% sure.
Okay.
Maybe I will cross check. I can't be overconfident sometimes.
Yeah, because I think you need to check on this.
No. I am, why? Because yesterday also I was reviewing some Git forums in Stack Overflow. I saw the same again, so maybe I will just try to see some video on YouTube one more time.
Okay, no issues. So now, you are having your Jenkins for this Git project to continuously build and code quality tested.
Okay.
After that, continuous testing, and then it will be deployed.
Okay.
So, in Jenkins, how you will consider these steps to work out?
Okay. I think you are somewhere outside. I think I see a lot of wind. Something is obstructing in between. Voice, I'm feeling like break or something like that.
Sorry, your voice is breaking. Can you come again?
No. What I'm telling is like you are outside or inside any meeting room. Some breeze is obstructing your voice. That is what I feel from my side.
Okay, no, actually I'm outside.
Oh, okay.
So now it is audible?
Yes, it's clear now. Maybe we'll face in opposite direction. Wind will not disturb us. Okay, what I was telling is like for this, yeah, I got your point. We'll walk through the scenario what you are expecting. Okay, I will see if something I'm missing, then we'll work. So basically, if that is the requirement, if you want a stable CI/CD pipeline, that is what I understood. You want continuous builds, continuous testing, continuous deployment, and continuous feedback from the end user. So I will be having my code in GitHub. So I will configure webhooks to my Jenkins job. For achieving this, my preference will be a Jenkins pipeline job. So as a part of Jenkins pipeline job, I will write a Jenkins file in such a way that I will be having different stages for doing this. The first stage will be agent. So this stage will...
hold on, my friend.
Yeah.
It is not a dependent project. It is an independent project. So do we really need to go with the pipeline project configuration?
Pipeline, in the sense, it is an independent job only. I will walk through the benefits, like even if it is an independent pipeline job. I don't have any dependent jobs. We are configuring it as a single job, but the job type is pipeline job. I don't have any upstream.
But we use Freestyle or Maven?
I don't want to use giving those things. Why? Because you want to upload the artifact. Each and everything we need to give in that GUI, and I can't reuse. Like if I write a Jenkins file, I can reuse the same again. I just want to change some parameters over there. So same things I can do by using a freestyle job. So in freestyle job, I will give my SCM, means GitHub repository URL. Then after that, before that, I want to check an option, clean workspace, before triggering the build. Once that is there, build part will be there. In build part, I need to give the metrics, like the goals of that particular Maven project, like clean execute or something like that I will use, or clean deploy I will use, so that it will follow the complete stages in between that Maven life cycle. Once the build is available, if you want to deploy to an web server or something like that, or if you want to do sonar scans, we can use that sonar scan over there. Quality gates we can define greater than less than or equals to 70%, so that once the sonar scanner comes and if it scans and if it see the quality gate is around 70%, it will pass the build, or else it will fail the build there itself. Then next thing is
okay, so have you configured SonarQube?
No, it was configured a long back. I didn't get a chance to see from the scratch of SonarQube.
Okay.
But means that job configuration part I remember. Then the next thing is like if you want to deploy to an target web server or something like that, then Jenkins will provide you an plugin to deploy it on a web server. Deploy to container is the plugin name which we can use to deploy the build in our target web server, and we need to mention the artifact name in that deployable path and the deployable path, so that it will copy that build to our remote server. And the next stage, like in post build activities, we can say that artifact upload into Nexus, where we need to give the remote repository URL plus artifact ID, group ID, username, password to that particular Nexus instance. So it will push that particular artifact into our Nexus.
Okay.
These
Can you tell me what is continuous deployment?
You are asking at Jenkins level, or you want some Docker stuff?
No, I want overall DevOps prospect. What is continuous deployment in your opinion?
So basically means I just I need to have a Docker file or a Docker image where we have already available. So now I want to suppose say I have a Jenkins Docker image. Now I have a requirement stating that team XYZ is a new onboarding team. We need to spin up an Jenkins instance for them, and we need to have an Nexus instance also for them, which is dedicated to the team. Now what I will be doing is, like, if I want to spin up this environment in Docker cluster environment or a container environment, so I will try to pull an image where I have installed my Docker engine for a Jenkins. I will just Docker pull Jenkins or the complete image ID path where we have stored in our private Docker hub. Then once that is done, then Docker run space that image ID. Then the particular image will be running, and we call it as a container. Running instance of an image is nothing but a container. That's it. Once the container is running, we can able to see our Jenkins process might be running, and you can take the IP address, or you can just put that colon 8080 port number. We can see that our Jenkins will be up and running. It will open that in the GUI, and you will be having the initial admin password under var lib Jenkins initial password. Under initial password, you can able to see the initial password. We just need to use it. Once we use it, it will ask you to reset, or you can create a user of it of our own channel. Why? Because we don't prefer to use admin users anytime. So we can create another user and we can use that for accessing our applications.
Okay. But my question was different. I'm not looking for any Dockerize or any particular project. I just want to know a plain vanilla example or a definition of continuous deployment. What is continuous deployment in your opinion?
Container deployment. So whatever the code we will be deploying in .var, .er or .jar, the same thing we can create a Docker image from Jenkins itself. So through a Docker file, we can maintain our GitHub source code, and the Docker file along with our source code will give you a deployable image of Docker. So it will be having the similar functionality of our var.er. So if you want to run your application, you just run that particular image, that is nothing but a deploy on your target server by using Docker engine. So the application will come up after the container is deployed on the target server.
So that is okay.
Mm-hmm.
You have an application or a Docker file. You are getting new changes in the repo. You are promoting it for your deployment. So now the scenario is what we call it as a continuous deployment. Okay, right? So what is the definition of continuous deployment? Is there any definition to this?
Sorry, 1 minute. You are asking continuous deployment.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm really sorry for this. I was thinking containerization deployment. That is what I was hearing. It's my bad. Sorry for that. So there are two things.
Okay.
CA, continuous integration, then CD. In market, few people are calling it as a continuous delivery, and some are calling it as a continuous deployment. So the continuous delivery is something like till we perform the unit tests and some integration tests, and we have an ready build to deploy in our target server. We call it as an continuous delivery. From there, how rapid you are deploying in our target production servers or pre-prod servers, that is continuous deployments.
Okay. So there's a difference between continuous delivery and deployment, right?
Exactly. We don't push the code into our production in continuous delivery. We are rapidly delivering the deployable artifact. Means we are giving them, this is a release version, you go and deploy, your application will run without any issue. But we will not deploy it. But if you do it, the deployment at the same time, then we treat it as a continuous deployment.
Okay. And now can you tell me what is integration test?
Integration tests. There are a lot of things at a build level, whatever the tests we will be running, whether it is in JUnit test case or Selenium test case or some third-party scans like Veracode scans or SAS lab tests, those we call it as an integration test.
Okay. And can we use Jenkins to run successful integration test cases?
Yes, exactly. But the thing is, like, if it is an third-party provided, suppose a Veracode is something like security and malware testing integration test. So basically, we just need to give our build to that particular Veracode server. We need to upload that there. Then it will do the scans, and scans will run approximately 5 minutes, and it will give the report. So those things are there. Okay. In Jenkins, if you have...
There is a plain simple scenario. There is a plain simple scenario. You have Selenium test cases, okay? Those are integration test cases. Now you need to use Jenkins to run those.
Okay.
Can we do that?
We can do that, but my suggestion is like it's better to trigger on some server where you have complete Selenium framework installed. By using Selenium WebDriver plugin, we can trigger that test sets on our target Selenium test mission. I don't want to mess up my Jenkins environment with some other XYZ process. It's to be safe. That is what my understanding is. Maybe means that is what I feel personally.
Okay. Okay. Now you have continuously deployed your one Java project. Now same sort of multiple jobs, like thousands of jobs you are handling on this Jenkins. Okay. And now you need to scale up this.
Okay.
What do you do?
Scale up. Then you increase your slaves under your master, and you don't trigger any job on your master. You try to keep master just to schedule your jobs on your slave mission. And the better way is like to restrict is like you make a number of executors to 0 on master, and on your slaves you can keep based on your load. Suppose say you have 1,000 jobs which will be running for every 5 minutes, then you segregate that 1,000 jobs, 1,000 divided by 20 slaves. If you have 20 slaves, then keep that many number of executors on your slave missions, so that automatically the slave will take the one trigger of that 1,000 jobs, and it will be, once it is occupied, it will be redirected to some master will tell on which node it needs to run. Or we explicitly can restrict where this job to be run in master only. While configuring the job, we can have an option restrict where to run this job. There we just need to mention the label of our slave machine.
Okay. So in this case, you are holding thousands of jobs. Okay. So is your master going to pass the build job to slaves, or the build job can be picked up independently by those slaves? What is the scenario?
Two scenarios will be achieved. One is like we explicitly hardcorely give that slave machine name at job configuration level, or while creating the slave itself, there is an option how to use your node, means as much as possible, or when master is busy, or use 50%, something like that. Those metrics we need to mention while configuring this as a slave.
Okay. So now can you tell me how master and slave start communicating with each other?
There are two ways. For Unix master and Unix slave, we need to give SSH key configuration. It's an SSL handshaking basically. And if it is an Unix master and Windows slave, there is Java WebStart, that is a JNPL program will come into picture. WebStart will try to communicate between Java and our Windows slave. But we need to make sure only this Windows bat files and those things will execute on that particular slave. If some script is like shell script, we just need to make sure that execute bat rather than execute shell, else it will fail.
Okay. And how about the master configuration? Does it have any facility to monitor slaves so that he'll know that this slave is running, is live? Is there any mechanism?
Monitor in the sense like they're only under nodes. If you see the right node configuration, it will show how many nodes are configured under that master. If you click on that, it will redirect to a page where it will list down available nodes and the health status of that node. If you want to monitor the complete metrics and that particular slave, there is one plugin called monitoring. The name itself is monitoring. So if you install that and if you put like Jenkins URL :8080/monitoring, it will redirect to you a page where you can see the memory utilization, how many jobs are running, what is the heap memory, and all those things in the same page.
Okay. Now let's have a scenario. You have 5 slaves. Okay.
Sorry, I have?
And after you have a scenario on your master configuration, on the master Jenkins master, you have 5 nodes listed. Okay, 5 slaves. Now one of your slaves has gone down.
Okay.
For any reason. Okay.
Okay.
So it is going to notify to master that I am down.
No. I had this scenario. I didn't see any notification at master. The only thing, it will be with a cross
the
symbol.
Master don't have any information related to his slave running or it's down.
No. Even if you trigger a job will fail, stating that the slave is down. That's it in console output.
Okay. So now again there is a scenario. The one slave has got failed. Okay. Master don't hold any information related to this. Our jobs are getting failed.
Okay.
But is there any facility if one slave is down, Jenkins can immediately spin up the another slave to handle those jobs? Is there any facility in Jenkins?
In Jenkins, I don't know. This I saw by using Kubernetes, where we can spin up a Kubernetes. If you have a deployment file, right? Automatically, if that slave got down, automatically Kubernetes will bring up a new pod as a slave. As simple as that. But at the Jenkins level, I never tried to check this scenario. Maybe I will check today. But I'm not.
Check on that. No issues.
Yeah.
Now, there's another scenario.
Okay.
On your Jenkins, you're the administrator. Many people you have given access, right?
Okay.
And now, you don't know because there's no tracking. You are not referring to any logs, who is doing what. You don't have time. And now, the question is, you need to secure your Jenkins.
You have one plugin called job config history. Okay. If you install that plugin, it will keep track of each and every minor change that any user is doing on our Jenkins instance. Suppose say I install a new plugin. This plugin will track who the user ID, who has installed at what time he has installed. I have changed some job configuration. That will also be stored in this particular job config history. If you install that plugin on the home page only, you will see on left hand side there is a option called job config history. We just need to click that. You go to that particular date and time, you see that this user has did this thing, something like that. It's very easy with that
And
plugin.
how about the Jenkins security? The configuration management will give me all the logs.
Yeah.
That is okay. But now I want to secure my Jenkins. How can I do that?
Secure in which sense you want to secure?
Yeah.
So basically means we have a lot of authentication mechanism. Suppose say I will just allow only my admin users or Devops team to have the complete access of Jenkins. And if it is operation team or some testing team, I just give a limited access, like they just can able to.
Where will you want to mention that?
That is under
Which
global
step you
security. And
where is that located?
it's under global configuration, global security. Under that, we will be having different authentication mechanism where we can use
Before
GitHub.
that, do we need to go to manage Jenkins?
Exactly, means under manage Jenkins only this security will be there.
Okay.
And
Can we integrate Jenkins with LDAP?
exactly. So we are using LDAP authentication mechanism across the organization.
Okay.
So under that authentication,
how we can configure that?
LDAP, there are some different paths we need to specify there. So we will be having the LDAP host name along with the port number or something like that. Under that authentication, we will be having GitHub OAuth plugin, Jenkins owned user database or LDAP. We just need to select the LDAP. Under that, we need to give the necessary information of our LDAP server details. Means once the communication is happened between LDAP and our Jenkins, automatically this LDAP users will be visible.
Do you need to set any attribute in LDAP for the Jenkins?
We have 5 to 6 attributes that we need to set it up while doing that LDAP configuration. But I made some notes.
Have you set up that?
Yes, I have a mail on that. So based on the notes only I used to do. But I'm not. I don't have that much handy in my mind right now, just to tell. Means there is a document based on that parameters only I used to configure when LDAP integration is required. And it's not that much repetitive task that I can remember that attributes.
Okay, but you can configure that, right?
Exactly, 100%. That attributes, if it is there only, it will work. Means there are some patterns that we need to mention over there in that attribute list. Almost 7 to 8 attributes we need to configure, if I am not wrong, after selecting LDAP.
Okay. Now, what is Docker? Can you tell me that?
So Docker is an open source containerization tool. So it will be having both community edition and as well as the enterprise edition. Open source will be the community edition, which will be having a client and a server. So basically when we install the Docker engine, we will be having a process called a Docker daemon. These two things will run a Docker image in form of Docker container. As we already discussed, like I want a Jenkins application to be running. So I will create a image with my Jenkins software along with the Maven and Java as its dependency. Now I want to install a Jenkins. I no need to install each and everything individually. I just need to Docker pull the image ID, and then once it is pulled into my local system, then I just need to run it, Docker run space image ID. So then it will spin that image as a container, and I can see my application come up from the Docker image.
Okay, now can you tell me what is the benefit of Docker?
So basically it's an ship your product anywhere, build your project anywhere and ship it and run it anywhere. So irrespective of your guest OS, we can able to run our application on the top of any guest operating system. And there is no headache of hypervisor, which is very good for us. So it is very lightweight entity.
So how it is different from any other VM or a server?
So basically it will not be having a layer called hypervisor. In VM, we will be having an hypervisor. On the top of hypervisor, we will load the complete server. On the top of that, we will run our apps. But whereas in Docker, you will be having a guest OS on the top of Docker engine, and you can directly run your apps on the Docker engine. You don't need to have any specific virtual server there.
Okay. Okay. Is there any difference? And that's the reason that Docker called lightweight.
Yes. On the top of hypervisor, I want to load my complete operating system, which will consume 2 to 3 GB of memory. Again, on the top of that, my applications will be running under bin or somewhere. But whereas in Docker, I will be having the base or the guest OS. On that, a Docker engine will be there, which will be roughly 80 to 100 MB of tool. On that,
in Docker, you don't need a full-fledged OS. Then how it will run?
That's why, Docker engine will handle it.
Yeah, so Docker engine has to deal with what? Your
on the
host OS?
Yes, host OS.
Okay, so does it going to share the all kernel resources, OS resources with the Docker?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the benefit, my friend.
Yeah, means okay. I was just telling another way. Okay.
Now, can you tell me what is Docker file?
So Docker file is a set of instruction we will be specifying how we need to build a container. Basically, I am on a server and I made some XYZ installations. Now I thought the same configuration will be needed on 10 more servers, so I need to take a copy of all this configuration along with existing.
Can you give me some command syntax of Docker file?
Docker file, so it will be from. So from where we need to take the base image or something like that. Then maintainer, where we will be giving who has developed it. Then run is the command which we can specify what exactly the commands we need to add apart from that. Along with that Docker image, run will be there. Means a few more things will be there. I am not that much versatile user of Docker. And once we have made that, we will save the Docker file. Then Docker build space and dot we need to mention if the Docker file is saved in the same location. Else we need to give the complete path of Docker file. Once we run that, we'll get an image over there with that features.
Okay. Then in your Docker build command, I've been mentioning -t statement. What T stands for?
T is for tag, so that with that tag name I can use to pull that Docker image.
Okay. Now you have built your image. Now you need to run a container. Which command you will use?
So first thing is if it is on some Nexus or hub, then I just need to use a Docker pull the image ID. Then if I want to run it, Docker run space that.
No need to go to Nexus.
Just
no need to go to
Docker run space image ID. Yeah, Docker run space image ID.
Yeah.
Our tag name is also sufficient.
Okay. Before that, do you need to use any -it, -p command?
Yeah. So this is the different ways that we can run a container. Suppose I is for interactive mode, D is for detached mode. T I am not 100% sure right now. IT, basically we use that -it to see it is an interactive mode. If you want to go inside that container, then we need to use Docker exec/it space user/bin so that we can able to log into that running container, so that under that container you can able to run some more commands.
Okay, while running this container, I just want to attach my local folder, okay, like the volume.
Okay.
Which command syntax I have to use?
Honestly, I didn't play this much on Docker. Volume attached, those things I didn't really know. I think right now I'm not comfortable.
Now, what is the command to list all containers?
Docker ps space -a.
Okay.
If you give just ps, So kill space that
Can I kill it directly?
kill it directly. No, we just need to use a Docker kill space that particular container ID.
No, what is the command?
No, not comfortable right now. I need to see. I just listed ps-a. It will list all the ideal and as well as running containers. For killing, I did it, but right now I didn't remember it.
Okay, no issue. How can I remove the image, a Docker image from my system? What is the command?
Okay, you want to remove the Docker image. No, I didn't try this as well. I just pulled everything and there on my local system only.
Okay. So now you have opened Kubernetes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just want to build a cluster of all the containers.
Okay.
How can I do that using Kubernetes?
So you want to build a Kubernetes cluster or you want to build an application cluster using Docker images?
I want to build the application cluster.
Okay. Suppose say you have three main applications which contributes to your cluster. Suppose say I have a Jenkins process, I have a Nexus, I have SonarQube. So now you just want to bring these three applications in a Kubernetes cluster and these three things needs to be running as a cluster. So for this we need to write the service.yml file and deployment.yml file. Service.yml file where we need to mention what is the API version for that. And that's it, means we just need to mention that. And in deployment.yml file where we need to mention the different API version, then the metadata of that particular images, then the URL of our Docker image. Then if you want to mention some custom syntaxes like volume and those things, we can mention there, and we can mention the replication there. Replication is nothing but...
Can I spin up a new container using Kubernetes on demand?
Kubernetes on demand, you want to spin up a new container.
Let's say you have same application which is running in cluster on 4 nodes.
Okay.
But
yeah.
There is a heavy load and due to this, the 4 containers are not sufficient to serve the purpose.
Yeah, we can do that. We just need to change that particular replication count to 2 to 3 or something like that. If count is 2, you mention like it as a 3. Then it will bring up a new pod of the same instance.
But it will create 3 instances.
Exactly.
Based on load or based on request.
Yeah, we can increase the volumes as well. In values.ml file, when we control this by using Helm, right? Helm install space that particular deployment file and those folders if you mention, it will come. Once that values.ml file will be generated when we install Helm. In that values.ml, there is a variable called volumes, where if it is 20 GB, it might be consuming 20 GB. CPUs might be 2 cores or something like that, it will be consuming it. Now, you want to scale it vertically, that is what I understand. So, for this vertical scaling, you just open that values.ml file and change 20 GB to 40 and 2 cores to 6 cores. And then Helm upgrade space that particular the folder of our cluster. Then automatically it will bring it up and it will be having a new release version and it will come up with 40 GB of volume and 6 cores of CPU. And if you want to roll back to the previous version, then we just need to use Helm rollback version 1 space that particular stack of the folder what we are maintaining. So it will roll back the infrastructure also once we are done with that speed.
Can you tell me what is Minikube in Kubernetes?
So Minikube is like it will be a development environment which will be not having nodes basically on a single server. It will bring up the Kubernetes environment for us. Minikube start stop. It will show us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, can you tell me what is Ansible?
Ansible is a configuration management tool which will be used to control a number of services by using SSH key configuration.
Can you tell me about its architecture?
So basically its architecture is like it will be having Ansible installed on a base server, and it will work on push-based mechanism, and underlying architecture will use SSH key configuration to communicate with our remote server. So if you want to control any remote server from your base machine, we need to mention that in our host files, which will be available under ECT Ansible host. Once that communication is established, we can run any command or some sort of scripts on our target systems.
Okay. Now, can you tell me how the master controller machine, Ansible controller machine, can communicate with the node?
Same, right?
What is the sequence of the communication?
It's the SSH key configuration. We need to generate SSH keys on our master, and we need to copy into our remote server under RSA, public and private keys. We just need to copy it by using SCP-P once we generate it on our master.
Okay. How the inventory will happen in Ansible?
So inventory is...
how inventory works?
Inventory basically it will work like we just need to give the host name, then username, then password separated by space. And there are different ways, like we can directly, if you want to make a group, suppose you have 4 application servers, 3 web servers and 2 databases, we can create a group. In square brackets we can mention application servers. Under that we can mention 4 application servers. So while running any command, we can just take application server after that command. So it will run on the 4 servers under that application server. And if you want to only run on database, then you can just take the group of the database.
Okay. Can we run an inventory using a domain name?
Domain name means the host name, or you mean to say like google.com, something like that?
And let's say you have a domain called abc.com.
We can do that. But we need to configure it.
Will it be possible to run the inventory against this domain so that my all systems can be listed?
Yes, but the thing is like we need to configure that domain under our where host, etc host file.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me that where that host file or inventory file resides in Ansible configuration?
ECT, Ansible, then host.
Okay. Can you tell me what is Ansible playbook?
Ansible playbook is a set of commands which is written in ML, where we will be having the host name, then the task, then handlers.
Have you write any Ansible playbook?
Yes, I have written Ansible playbooks.
So can you give me some basic syntax? Let's say you have a target host. On that you just need to install Apache Tomcat.
Okay.
So what would be the syntax?
So hyphen, 3 times hyphen I will mention in the first line. It is basically stating that I am writing an ML syntax file. After that host colon, then enter, then there we can mention hyphen the host name on which we need to run it. Or if you mention all, it will run all the servers under that inventory. The next will be the task. This is the main place where we will be giving our main command to install Apache D, something like that. So then we can say name over there, Apache Tomcat or something like that. Then we need to give HTTPD state equals to present. So it will check that present option over there, and if it sees whether the software is available on our target system when we run it. If it is available, then it will skip that installation again. If it is not available, then it will do the installation, and there will be a handler. Handler is something like if you make some changes, it will automatically take a restart of our target server where we are trying to do it. And if you want to check the syntax of that, we have a command called Ansible playbook space playbook.ml hyphen syntax check. If you want to do a dry run, then you just make it like hyphen check. It will do a dry run and it will not make the changes.
Okay. Can we call another playbook in one playbook?
Yes, but we need to use roles over there.
Okay, what we need to do?
So basically, roles is a collection of tasks, means task template handler. So you just put your task or template folder under that particular role structure. If I want to install a Java and I want to install Jenkins, I want to install Maven. So I will be having three different playbooks to write to trigger this. So what I will do is like I will try to put them in this directory structure of my role so that all three tasks will execute as a part of that role.
Okay. Can you tell me what is Ansible role?
Ansible role is basically it is used to remove the redundant tasks. Suppose I want to install Java in my organization. So basically almost all the 80% of applications will need Java or something like that. Now I don't want to write for each and every installation the Java. Now what I will do is like I will create a role which will install Java. So in role we will be having different folder structure like variables, template, tasks, handler. So we will segregate this and we will keep task is like main thing. The Java installation part will come variables. If you are using some sort of variables, you can define in that folder. Handlers is something like here we can define to restart our application or something like that when some configuration changes are done. So this will be, once it is done, this will be used across our organization. Suppose team B will be installing some XYZ software for that Java is needed. They just can able to call this. And we have a lot of open source available rules in Ansible Galaxy. They can pull a one from there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about Ansible role hierarchy structure?
Where template tasks, then handler, main.ml.
Okay. Can you tell me what is Ansible module?
Module is nothing but the Adobe commands similar to our Unix commands, but we will be running them by using Ansible. So there are different modules like copy, list files, rsync, sync, register. There are a lot of things similar like Unix commands, date, time, ping. All these are modules only.
Okay. 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 Now, can you tell me what is AWS VPC?
It's a virtual private cloud which will be having subnet, integrate gateway, and a route table attached to that. Again, in the subnet, we have two things. One is public subnet and another one is private subnet. If it is having the internet gateway attached,
Your voice is too low.
I
Hello?
think the time is moderate. It's almost 1 or 20 minutes. I can't speak that much time. I have some throat problem. So I just, to be safe, I just
Hello?
reduced my volume. Hello?
Hello. Your voice is too low.
Yes, I know. I have some throat infection. I can't speak this much time. A little louder. Sorry for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. 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 So, does VPC contain any gateway?
Exactly, internet gateway. So if it is attached, then we call it as a public subnet. If it is not available, then it will be a private subnet. This gateway is used to give the internet connection to that particular subnet.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me what is AMI?
Amazon Machine Image, it will be having a package of operating system and supported applications which will able to spin up an
Can we have
server.
a customized own image in that?
Exactly. We can take a snapshot of your running AMI and we can make it as an image again. So you can use it with your customized installed softwares by selecting that from your marketplace under images.
Okay. Okay. Can you tell me what is Beanstalk in AWS?
Beanstalk is something like which is used to maintain the environment. Suppose say I create one environment of test, I want to replicate a prod and pre-prod. By using Beanstalk, we can able to spin up different environments.
Okay. Now, you also working on Terraform, right?
Yeah.
So can you give me an example where I want to spin up a EC2 instance in AWS?
Okay.
What should I do?
So basically you need to write a .tf file with some name first, okay? In the tf file we need to mention like provider. There you need to select as AWS, you want to spin it up on AWS. As it supports for different cloud providers, Azure also you can mention if you have Azure. On AWS we will mention AWS. Then access key ID, security key ID you need to provide for that particular account. After that we need to take the image ID. And then we need to specify under which VPC we need to spin it up, and then under which subnet. Then whether it is a private subnet, that's up to our call. Once that is done, we just need to Terraform plan space that particular .tf file. Once the plan is done, if you see that the output what it is showing is okay for you, then you can apply that particular plan. So your instance will spin up in your AWS account.
Okay. What is the key pair in AWS?
Key pair is nothing but if you want to connect to your EC2 instances, we need to have a secured way of communication. So for that we will generate a key pair. It will be with .pem file. So AWS will store the public password, and it will be given with a private password to us in that particular .csv file. We just need to use it as an password while logging into your EC2 instance.
Okay. While using a Terraform, do we need to have the existing key pair present, or it will create its own key pair while deploying?
So basically there are two things in AWS. One is like the programmatic way of connection, another one is like the console way of connection or something like that. So if you enable that, basically the security key and access key ID will do our purpose. I am provisioning my infrastructure here and I don't want to log into my EC2 instance, right? In Terraform, I think I no need to specify the key pair value. And it's not suggested to mention a key pair value somewhere else. If you want to do it, you can use a vault password over there.
Okay. So, yeah, I think I'm done from my side.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Have a great day ahead. Bye.